welcome to Unews for Thursday, February 27th. I'm Andrea Linares. We begin today with a novel coronavirus, fear spreading as new outbreak clusters pop up in different parts of the world. The CDC is now confirming a U.S. patient from Northern California has contracted the illness, making this the first case of community transmission. Let's go to Luis Mejid. He's outside the hospital where that patient is now being treated in Sacramento. Luis, what do you know so far about this individual? Reports. Meanwhile, the White House says the situation is under control and the government is ready to deal with the health crisis, but fear over the coronavirus has markets plunging as they have for most of this week. Lorraine Gatsides has the latest details.
And at least 11 European countries have confirmed cases of coronavirus, some of which have been traced back to the crisis in Italy. Experts in France are warning authorities to prepare for a local outbreak cluster similar to that country's. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, several officials have been diagnosed with the virus. One of them is currently recovering at home. And in Japan, the cases now stand at more than 900. The government there closing all schools for the time being. Back to you, Andrea.
Thank you, Lorraine, for all those latest numbers. Meanwhile, Hawaiian Airlines is suspending flights to South Korea through April. The airline flies 5 times weekly nonstop as officials in the U.S. are grappling with how to contain the spread of the coronavirus. The question on everyone's mind is whether the U.S. is truly prepared. Let's go to Michael Mina. He's a professor of epidemiology. Novel coronavirus spreads around the world. In Italy, one of the epicenters of this outbreak, authorities have now closed off so-called red zones. This means you cannot enter or exit certain areas without special permission. One village is now feeling the full effect of this measure as people worry that the coronavirus could present much more than just a health hazard. Azul Alvarez has more. Now, another major story we have been tracking for you. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a regular workday turning into chaos, not only for employees there, but also for the community. A former employee opening fire at the iconic 160-year-old Miller Coors Brewery. 5 people are now dead. The corporate offices will be closed for the rest of the week, and also the breweries will remain closed for the time being as police investigate and try to determine a motive for this shooting. The names of the victims have not yet been released. This is the 11th mass shooting in Wisconsin since the year 2004. Immigration and privacy activists are sounding the alarm at the use of facial recognition software by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This after it was revealed that officers went through millions of Maryland driver's license photos without state approval. They fear these searches are targeting immigrants who applied for driver's licenses at any point after the year 2013. Janet Rodriguez is in Maryland with more details on this. Janet.
In Maryland this afternoon, and the concern is mostly for undocumented immigrants who have been willingly going to the DMV offices across Maryland to get a driver's license here in the state, and now could be targeted by ICE officials. In talking to
Janet Rodriguez for following this story so closely. And moving on now, President Trump scoring a legal victory in his fight against the so-called sanctuary cities. On Wednesday, a Manhattan appeals court ruled his government can withhold millions of dollars in grants to states to force them to work with immigration officials. New York City and 7 states refusing to help ICE because of their sanctuary policies for undocumented immigrants. Blanca Rosa Vilches explains. A report by the organization Doctors for Human Rights reveals migrant families who are separated after crossing the border experience psychological damage. As Dulce Castellanos explains, according to the United Nations definition, some government actions would amount to torture. Coming up next, new developments in the mysterious case of the 2 Idaho kids. Welcome back to Unews. New details in the mysterious case of a missing brother and sister. Authorities are now reportedly searching Yellowstone National Park. This as their mother, Lori Vallow, appeared in court in Hawaii, waiving extradition to face charges in her home state of Idaho. Rafael Rodriguez has more. Starting this fall, travelers will be required to have a Real ID compliant driver's license, but Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf raised concern. In election news, we're only a few days away from Super Tuesday. Texas is one of the 14 states holding primary elections. One Lone Star State organization is trying to get out the all-important Latino vote with a new tactic. tonight, Real America with Jorge Ramos and producer Nidia Cavazos joins us with a preview. Nidia.
Andrea, many political campaigns resort to phone banking and going door to door to gather votes. But one Texas organization, Joe, does not believe this strategy works for Latino communities. So why not take advantage of quinceañera parties and use them as a voting registration site? As part of the Poder 15 initiative, young girls are signing up to have their party. But while their friends and relatives are dancing, they're also encouraging their relatives to raise their voice and vote. Let's take a look. Although the girls participating may be too young to vote, that does not stop them from being politically active and engaging their loved ones as well. Our story will be available to watch at 7 Eastern Time on Real America's Facebook page. And in
California, a doorbell camera capturing the terrifying moment an unleashed dog attacks a woman's dog at her friend's house. But thankfully, the injured dog survived. We have to warn you, this video is very disturbing to watch. Jorge Hernandez. Coming up in Panama, 5 tons of drugs. Police in Panama have seized 5 tons of drugs that were transported aboard a semi-submersible boat. That 2 landslides caused by the rainy season in Colombia have left at least 8 dead and more than a dozen injured. The mudslides sweeping away houses and burying victims. However, as Michelle Jurado reports, the rescue of a baby brought some relief and hope in the midst of tragedy. Tensions spilling over in Chile as families face off with police to defend against evictions from their camp homes. Take a look at the new warnings about a link between the University of Arizona say they've discovered a mini moon orbiting the Earth. These are images who's standing by in our newsroom with a preview of stories that are still ahead in hour 2 of Unews. Carol.
Thank you, Andrea. And as we continue to try the coronavirus and as people continue to buy face masks, we'll take a look at whether or not those types of masks could help with the outbreak. And as the coronavirus cluster continues in Italy, we also have the latest on the Pope canceling a visit with clergy in Rome. Officials saying it is a case of, quote, slight illness. We have details. And as Election Day 2020 gets closer, we have the new information about the importance of immigrants on that critical day. Could we be the key to winning the White House and other races? Details and more coming up in minutes. Back to you, Andrea.
Thanks so much, Carolina. We'll be watching. But first, coming up, welcome back to Unews. Now to some entertainment news. The latest Indiana Jones movie is moving forward, but with one major change, Meridia Marangi explains. Maria Sharapova, the 5-time Grand Slam champion and former #1 ranked woman. Stay tuned. We have much more information coming up next, especially about the coronavirus during hour 2 of Unews with Carolina Sarasa. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day.